Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. I hope you're all good. It has been a while. Now, bear with me. I have a bit of a cold and a bit sniffly, and if I need to pause and go and have a coughing fit, then yeah, I would have to edit this and put it back together as without the coughing fit, because you guys do not need to be listening to that. I actually did a miracle morning with my clients this morning. So at 6 a.m, like 2 to 3 days a week, I jump on a Zoom call with my clients and I put them through like a meditation. Then we do gratitude and affirmations and a motivational video to start the day right. And I was very nervous that I was going to have a coughing fit halfway through. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to ruin their meditation, but I need to cough. So luckily it was all okay. I think I coughed once and it wasn't through their meditation, thank goodness. So today's episode, guys, is going to be on what you guys have asked for. So I have a broadcast channel on my Instagram. It's free. It's full of daily tips, questions, first come, first serve on different things I'm doing. So definitely go and join that if you have not yet. But I asked you guys what you wanna hear, and you guys chose fat loss versus muscle gain when it comes to, like, I guess, nutrition, training, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go into it because I feel like it is definitely something that I used to get really confused by and a little bit overwhelmed by when I first started my journey. So yeah, apologies if I'm a little bit sniffly and yeah, just don't sound my greatest, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So firstly, before we go into that, I'm going to give you guys a bit of an update as to where I'm at in my own journey. So we are now 5 weeks and like 3 or 4 days out from my next photo shoot, which is in a different country. I haven't shared what we're doing. I like to keep those things a secret until we actually do them, because each time I push myself to a new level. But this is something I've never done before. And to be fair, every photo shoot I do, it's something I've never done before, because I believe in pushing myself to another level every single time. So guys, I'm excited. I'm getting leaner. I'm on a deload this week. So I was feeling a bit fatigued over the last few days. And I said to my coach, like, I'm really fatigued. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm due on in the next week. I'm really demotivated. Not demotivated. Well, yeah, demotivated, like dragging my feet to the gym, guys. If I was a child, I was viewing myself as a kid, I would have been kicking and screaming the last week or so going to the gym. I did not want to get my sessions in. I was low on energy, low on motivation. And I was blaming on all these things. And she was like, yeah, you're probably just due a deload. I was like, oh, right, yeah. Forgot that we do those things. So it's been a while. So I'm excited to be on a deload, especially because I've got so much stuff to do in business and work. So it's given me a bit more time back over the next week to kind of get things into action with, again, recording the podcast, things like that as well. So they're coming back, guys. And we have a few exciting guests coming over the next few months as well. So stay tuned. But let's get into today's podcast. So training. Let's talk about training first for fat loss versus muscle gain. And if your goal is fat loss, what you need to be focusing on. And if your goal is muscle gain, what you need to be focusing on. So I've made a few notes here, but it's mainly going to be free flow, because that's just how I roll. I don't work with like scripts and stuff. It doesn't work for me in my brain. I used to do a public speaking job, and when we used to have to read off scripts, like because when COVID hit, we were obviously not able to go and do the public speaking in person. We had to do it online. And I literally, I hated doing the scripts. Like, it just was not me. Like, I just like to free flow. I like to just say how I feel, be authentic, So let's talk around if your goal is fat loss. So ladies, if you're trying to lose body fat and you're not eating firstly in a calorie deficit, you need to eat in a calorie deficit. I'll be honest with you. I always say this when ladies join my team, but the training side of it, when your goal is fat loss, is the cherry on top of the cake, right? That's not the priority to begin with. I'll be honest with you. You can train 5 days a week and not lose weight, right? And it's the same with muscle building, right? And that's why these two things are really important for you to understand. Is you can follow the same training program for even muscle building and fat loss. The difference is going to come down to your nutrition and other things going on behind the scenes, right? So if your goal is fat loss, firstly, the only way to lose body fat is to be in a calorie deficit, right? So you want to be in a calorie deficit. And alongside that, especially as a female, you need to make sure that everything else is in place. Your nutrition, obviously deficit, but also in a slight deficit, not in too much of one, because that can slow down your metabolism and that can actually set you back. And that's usually where a lot of women are. They're like, I'm not eating much, but I'm not losing the weight. Your body's plateaued, your metabolism slowed down, or you're not actually in a deficit 80 to 90% of the time, because you end up craving food. Because guess what, guys? Your body actually needs food. So you're going to end up having cravings. You're going to end up binging, things like that, or it gets to the weekend, your diet goes out the window. Those things will all mean that you're no longer in a deficit, right? So it has to be a sustainable deficit. where your body is in a slight deficit where it can burn body fat, but your metabolism is not compromised, okay? And it's in a good place. So that's the first thing you have to get into check first. Otherwise, you can train all you want, guys. It is true the saying, you cannot out-train a bad diet. You will not lose body fat. Simple. And if you're like, well, I did before, I got into exercise before and I lost loads of weight, you were probably in it. Well, no, you would have been in a deficit. Because you've got to think training on top of the nutrition is going to help your deficit. It's going to help you burn more calories. The more muscle you have, the more faster metabolism you have. But if you don't focus on the foundations, which is your nutrition, your sleep quality, your hydration, your stress levels, especially as a woman with hormones, right? We have wild hormones. It plays a part, right? So those things have to be focused on first. Then once those are ticked off, and these are the phases when ladies join my team, we work in 3 phases, right? We make sure that each phase is ticked off to make sure your foundations are in place first so that your body can actually respond to the training, right? When you then get into training, it's not all about cardio. It's not all about a certain specific type of movement. It's around, firstly, making sure you enjoy your exercise. But I will say there are going to be days where you don't want to show up. There are days where I don't want to go to the gym, like I said, but you still have to rinse and repeat, or you're not going to see the results, right? So if your goal is fat loss, make sure all those things are in check first, right? Nutrition, sleep, stress levels, hydration, steps. Make sure they're in a good place first for the good few weeks. Then you can move on to exercise. If you can handle both at the same time and you're not, like, those things aren't letting slide, amazing. You can do both. That's my rule of thumb with clients. So when you get into training, you want to be doing some sort of strength training. Why? Or resistance training. Why? Because the more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism. The faster your metabolism equals more fat loss without you having to be in such an intense deficit. Okay? So that's why I'm a massive advocate for weight training, right? And then people say to me, oh, does that mean I need to train 5 days a week? Absolutely not, right? 2-3 days a week is more than enough, especially if you are starting out, especially if you're a busy mum. You need to make sure that you're fitting your training around your lifestyle. Otherwise, guess what? You're going to do it for a week. You're going to do it for 2 weeks. You're going to fall off. It ain't going to last. And you're not going to see results. It's pointless. Right? So it depends on your lifestyle. I train 5 days a week, right? But I can train 5 days a week. I'm in a lucky position where I can. And to be honest with you, even when I worked full time and ran a business and was very stretched for time, I still trained 5 days a week because it was a massive priority for me. But my goal are based around those training sessions, right? Whereas if your goal is to just get into a good shape, you want to build a bit of muscle mass and you want to also lose a bit of body fat whilst moving your body and building a bit of definition, you can train 2 to 3 days a week as more than enough, right? And a lot of my clients will say to me, or potential clients or ladies I speak to, but I have fear around the gym, right? So did I. You don't need to start in the gym. I'll be honest with you, right? Especially if your goal is fat loss, okay? Your goal isn't muscle building. That's a whole different ballgame and I'll get into that. But if your goal is fat loss, you don't need to go to the gym, right? You can start by doing home workouts. A lot of my clients do home workouts and see amazing results. And I'll be honest, guys, I got into the best shape of my life during COVID from home workouts, okay? I don't know what the gym did. No, I'm joking. But it was because everything was in place, right? My steps, my nutrition was good. Everyone was looking after themselves in the environment of, everyone around you doing it as well. That all matters as well, right? So yeah, you can do home workouts. You can do 2 to 3 days a week and that is more than enough. It has to make sure you can fit it into your lifestyle. If you're going to say you're going to go 5 days a week and you haven't been to the gym for a year, good luck. It ain't going to last. You might go for 1 week. The novelty will wear off. Life happens. Life gets busy, something will get in the way and you won't go and then you're back at square one again. Okay, so start small, build it up. And what I would recommend with that as well is full body sessions to begin with. If you're training 2 to 3 days a week, there is no point in you doing an upper lower split, I'll be honest, because you're not going to be hitting the muscle groups enough, right? So that's that. When you then train 4 to 5 days a week, you can go into more of an upper lower split, right? Or if you are doing 3 days a week, you could do upper lower full body, and then you are relatively going to hit your muscle groups enough. So that's my recommendations around training. Cardio. If your goal is fat loss, you should be doing cardio anyway, guys. Right? I'm not a massive lover of cardio, and I'll be honest with you, I never used to do it, but it is really important for your heart health. It's going to help you burn more calories, but it's not as effective for fat loss. I personally believe you need to make sure you're doing both, because when you burn calories through cardio, you're going to burn your calories there and then. Yeah, amazing. But when you burn your calories through muscle building and building muscle, your metabolism speeding up, you're going to burn calories overall over time. Does that make sense? So you need to make sure that you're doing a bit of both. Now, cardio, if your goal is fat loss, you don't want to be extreme, okay? Because you will just fatigue yourself. And it's not, like I said, it's not going to be burning calories overall. Like, the strength training needs to be prioritized. So I would say 30 to 60 minutes a week to start off with. And this is why coaching is so important, having a coach, because it also depends on your body and how it responds, right? Like, you might need to increase the cardio over time, you might not need to. It depends on how your body's responding. You might need to drop food, you might need to increase intensity of your training. There's so many different things that play a part on how someone's body responds to fat loss. It's not just go and do loads of cardio, burn yourself out, then your body's really stressed, your body's actually going to hold water, it's going to be inflamed. You need to make sure that, you know, you have someone in your corner doing it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a coach. I have a coach. My coach has a coach, right? It's important to have someone in your corner that knows your body inside out, that knows what next step to take, okay? So that's my recommendations around fat loss, okay? It's not a load of cardio. I would recommend strength training, but at the same time, you can do that from home. And also, I have a lot of ladies on the team that don't do any workouts and still lose loads of weight, because fat loss comes from nutrition. It comes from the foundations. It doesn't come from training. The training is the cherry on top of the cake that's going to help you accelerate your goals. Okay, so that's fat loss. Let's go into muscle building, right? And one question I get asked a lot as well is, can I build muscle? Because I have a lot of girls that come to me and say, I want to lose weight, but I want to build massive glutes. Don't we all, girl? Don't we freaking all? Can you build muscle whilst losing body fat? Yes and no, right? It's not a simple answer. Yes, you can build some sort of muscle, because if you're strength training, you're going to build a bit of muscle, but not not a huge amount. Depending on your body too, right? This is another thing. Everyone's body is different. People have different dominant muscle groups, different genetics. They play a massive part as well. I hate to say it, but it's true, right? So yes and no, you can and you can't, right? You're not going to build a load of muscle in a deficit, because you're burning calories and you're burning through your muscle. As long as your protein's in a good place and your nutrition's in a good place and you're not in too much of a deficit, then yeah, you can still maintain a good amount of muscle mass whilst also losing body fat, yes. But technically, if your goal is to grow massive glutes and lose body fat, I'd say go through your fat loss phase first, get your body into a good body composition, and then build muscle, okay? Training for muscle building. Let's go through muscle building. If your goal is to build muscle, build big glutes, whatever it is, build a nice back, whatever. I actually meant your back, not your back as in your glutes, but yeah, both, right? Whatever it is, build good quads, hamstrings, calves, delts, whatever, right? How do you do that? You need to make sure it's the opposite of fat loss. You need to make sure you're eating enough food for your body to build muscle, right? It's not good enough going to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, burning yourself out, eating 1,200 calories, girls. You're wasting your time, right? Why? Because your body needs food and protein to actually build muscle. So when you're strength training in the gym, girls, what is actually happening is you are tearing your muscle fibers. Sounds gross? It's just what you're doing. You're putting stress on your muscle fibers, right? What then happens is your body has to repair and adapt to that stress. And therefore, that's why we get stronger. Because at each time your body goes, oh, I've managed this stress before. I'm prepared. Oh my God, now we can lift heavier, right? So actually, you don't build your muscle when you're training, girls. You build your muscle when you're resting. Your body repairs, it grows whilst you sleep, whilst you rest. So rest is just as important as training, right? So you need to make sure that you're eating enough so your body can actually repair that muscle and grow. If you're in a massive deficit, you're not going to be able to grow that muscle, right? So if your goal is muscle building, you need to firstly be eating enough. Not in a deficit, in a maintenance at least, right? Or in a surplus, realistically a surplus. You'll see me if you follow my journey. I go through bulking phases and then I'll go into a dieting phase. I always last around 6 months minimum into a bulking phase if I can, depending on how uncomfortable I get. And I do get uncomfortable. I push my calories high, not too high, because you don't want to gain loads of body fat, but you are going to have to accept if you do want to go into a proper building phase, you are more than likely going to carry a bit of body fat, right? Because you're in a calorie surplus. But then I always strip it back and go into a photo shoot prep like I am now, right? So it's up to you what your goal is. If your goal is to build big muscle, yes, you need to be in a calorie surplus, right? Or you're going to limit yourself. If you're at a place where like, I want to build, but I don't necessarily want to put the body fat on, I'm not in a mental space to do that, then you can go into a maintenance phase or a slight surplus and keep it nice and manageable. Now, guys, like I said earlier, the more muscle you have, the more fat your body drops. So a lot of the girls on my team who have gone into building phases, who have a lot of muscle mass, the more we push their calories up, the more they keep dropping because their body's responding really well to the food. It's utilizing it. We can actually manage to put them on higher calories and still sustain a good amount of body composition in regards to lower body fat and more muscle. Everyone's body is different. Again, that's why coaching is so important, right? If you're going to do this by yourself, like even myself, like I have a coach, like I said, because I'd rather someone there be telling me, right, guiding my body. Because we see our bodies very differently to someone else, right? So that's that. In regards to training for muscle building, it's a little bit different to fat loss. You can still train the same for fat loss, by the way, because like if you still want to build some muscle with fat loss, you are going to have to train this way. But again, it has to be around what works for you. Quality over quantity, guys. I see this all the time. People trying to build muscle and they're lifting really heavy 5-6 days a week, not resting enough and wondering why they're not seeing results. Like I said earlier, your muscle does not build when you are training it. Your muscle builds when you are resting. So sleep is really important. Rest days are really important. And again, making sure that consistency is key. A lot of girls I speak to, they change their training plan every week. You ain't going to see muscle gain like that. Your glutes ain't going to grow if you go in the gym and you find a new TikTok workout every time, right? It's rinse and repeat. It sounds boring, but it just is what it is. So when you're going in the gym, you want to make sure you're progressively overloading, okay? What does that mean? No, that doesn't mean lifting heavier weights every single time. That is an element of it, and you can, but making sure that your form's nice in a good place, right? Making sure your tempo's in a good place. You're not just rushing through the movement. Mind to muscle connection, making sure your mind is connected to that muscle. If you're trying to build your glutes, girls, make sure you're thinking about your glutes the whole time, right? Mind to muscle connection. Slow it down. Reduce the weight if you need to. Get rid of your ego, right? Why? Because if you're lifting too heavy, going too fast, you're not building muscle. You're probably going to lead yourself to an injury because another muscle is going to take over because that muscle that you're trying to build is maybe not strong enough to carry that weight yet. So actually, it can really knock our ego, and I get it, but we sometimes have to reduce the weight, ask ourselves on a level of 1 to 10 how we felt that, where we felt it, and then if we think we can go heavier, then go heavier. Log it. Make sure you're logging your exercises. Get a logbook, guys. If you're not logging your exercises, you don't know where you were last week, you're just winging it. You're not going to see growth, right? And that's for fat loss too. I'm in a fat loss phase. I still do those things because I still want to grow my muscle as much as I can in a dieting phase, right? I don't want to lose my gains. So I need to make sure I'm progressively overloading. And like I said, progressively overloading could be right. I reckon if I put this weight up for my next set, I reckon I'm probably going to end up going too heavy. So actually, do you know what? I'm going to do more reps. That's still progressively overloading. Progressive overload essentially means putting your muscle under more stress. So reps, slowing things down, time under tension. It's going to put your body under stress. Obviously, if you're staying on the same weight for like a year, 6 months, 3 months, certain exercises you will, right? Lat raises, it's not a place to go really heavy because you are just going to get other muscles involved. Certain exercises you will stay at the same weight for a while and it can be really frustrating. Focus on improving your form, improving your technique, increasing your reps, right? Can I get another rep in here? Can I get another 2 reps? That's progressive overload, but there are some exercises where you're like, do you know what? On a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 6. I need to push the weight up. I can go heavier, put my body under more stress. Okay. So that is basically the difference between training for fat loss and training for muscle building. It's not different. It's the same. But if you are training for muscle building, you are going to need more of a gym style environment. Why? Because you are going to need to push heavier with your weights to put your body under more stress. You can build some muscle at home, but if you've got resistance bands and a set of 5 kg dumbbells, you're going to be limited to what stress you're putting your body under as it progresses, right? So I do recommend if you are training at home, get some good weights. If you're training in the gym, amazing, right? And again, you don't need to train 5 days a week to see muscle growth, guys. It can be the same as your split before. We just need to make sure we're putting our muscles under repetitive stress each time and it's consistent. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in regards to that I've missed. Also, like with the split as well, like I said, if you're training 3 days a week, I recommend full body or upper lower full body. If you're training 4 to 5 days a week, go into more of like an upper lower split. But when you're starting out, I still recommend full body because your body needs to get used to it. When you feel that soreness, which is delayed onset muscle soreness after you train, that's your body recovering and repairing, right? And I think another thing I want to say as well is a lot of people think as you progress in the gym, guys, or training, you're not going to get that soreness as much. Doesn't mean you haven't worked as hard. No. DOMS is not a sign of a good workout. I used to think that too. Oh my God, I'm really sore. I've had a really good workout. No. Yes, you've torn your muscle fibers. But just because you don't feel that soreness anymore doesn't mean you're not working as hard and you start switching things up, right? Your body needs to get used to the same exercises again and again and again. And you need to progressively overload on those exercises, not changing things up because your favorite influencer on TikTok told you to do that. Okay? I hope that's helped, guys. Thank you for listening. And I will catch up with you, whether you're watching this or listening to this, in my next episode.